Hi, this is Leslie Maddox, and today I'm sharing with you a quick review of the devotional Indescribable by Louie Giglio, along with my recommendations and best tips for using it. As the cover says, this devotional has 100 devotions in it, and each is 2 pages long. It starts out with the title, a verse that's related to the spiritual lesson that is given in the devotional. You got your devotional, some cute picture or illustration, and then along with a prayer and a Be Amazed section. So the way I normally use this is we read through here, I give them the verse, and we read through this, and we talk about it a little bit. We pray about it, and then usually after we pray, we'll look at the Be Amazed section. Most of them have some scientific fact in it. And sometimes we'll explore the topic more with like looking at a book or Googling something specific. Besides these illustrations, sometimes you'll get a picture. Here's some puzzle pieces. Here's a diamond or some sort of gemstone. Yeah, a diamond. This one talks about the tongue. You'll see animals. There's a bird. I know there's one of these pictures that has a sloth. So my kids love all these pictures. The illustrations I feel are high quality. They're really well done, and they love seeing the picture as well. My kids are real interested in science and nature and all of that, so they love to see a real picture as well. Now there are just a few general topics that are covered throughout this book. You can refer to the introduction, and in the introduction it shows you that the general topics of study here are space, earth, animals, and people. You can also see that like space is covered on pages 8, 10, 20, 26. So if you're looking to get a devotional on a specific topic, you can refer to this. Let's say you're studying space and you just want to work in devotionals for each of those about space into your study. You can go to each of these pages. I've been using this as just a devotional, so we just started at page 1, and each time we sit with this book, I just read one at a time. Oh, here's that sloth. Isn't that cute? So cute. Anyway, we'll just do one devotional per day, and we're just going through in order. But you can use it as a resource with that handy dandy little list in the introduction. Now, my thoughts about the devotional in general. It's a really nice devotional for elementary age students. It has nice illustrations, cute pictures. The text is easy to understand. I read it aloud to my kids during our group learning time, and we usually have some fun conversation related to whatever the topic is that we cover. But it's not what I expected. Based on what I've seen of Louie Giglio, specifically his Indescribable tour, which is what this is referring to, really, this Indescribable, where he talks a lot about space and specific topics. Based on certain speeches I've seen of his, I'll link below a couple that I find, one specifically talking about laminin, where he takes that topic and he draws that spiritual truth out of it. It's very cohesive. The scientific topic gives you the spiritual truth. That's what I expected this to be, but that's really not what it is. Sometimes the relation between the science and the spiritual lesson is not direct. And I understand that with 100 devotions and with it being directed to kids, I get that you're not always gonna be able to have that strong connection, or that it will be difficult to do. I think it can be done, but I think it would be really difficult to do. But since what's in here is not what I was expecting, I was disappointed. I expected this book to have a lot of science that reveals spiritual truths, and instead is really just more of a devotional with some science in it. So because of that, I was disappointed. I'm trying not to let it color my view of this book so much, because I mean, it is what it says it's going to be. It's a devotional, and it talks about science and it talks about God. But that connection between the two isn't as strong as I'd hoped it would be. All right, as far as my recommendations go, I would recommend this book to students that do well learning via the spoken word. Since it's targeted to elementary students, especially if you're reading to early elementary students, they need to be able to learn from you reading aloud to them. If you have a student, and I have one, who, when I talk, it's like in Peanuts, like Charlie Brown, when the teacher or adults talk and they're just wah, 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 wah. I mean, that's all he hears. So this would not have been a good choice for him at, let's say, kindergarten, first grade. If you have students that you're going to read this aloud to and they're very weak in learning from the spoken word, then I would not recommend it for that. I would recommend this for students who do well with the spoken word. If your student can read fluently and does well with the written word, learns well through the written word, I would recommend this for that student to read on their own, to have as their devotional in the morning, where they sit first thing and they just read something out of here, maybe do copy work with the verse, maybe journal a little bit. So this would be a good devotional for a student that can read fluently and learns well via the written word. Students that do well with visual learning, who need pictures and illustrations, and that helps to spark their attentiveness, would enjoy this as well, depending on how much of that they need. There's usually, if there's a picture, there's usually just one picture and usually just one illustration. If that's enough for them, then this would be good for that type of student. I would also recommend this to students that love science, who just want to get science in any which way, and they're okay with the limited science that's in here. And I would recommend this to families that enjoy a family devotional, especially if dad likes to read out loud and enjoys that, and he's interested in science. This could be, just exactly how he might want to approach devotionals with kids and leading a family devotional. I would not recommend Indescribable to anyone looking for an in-depth kind of case for Christ type of correlation between science and God. Like I said, I was disappointed because I kept thinking of Lee Strobel and the case for Christ and the case for the Creator, and I mean, those books are so good, and that correlation between God and science is just really strong. So I was expecting something more like that, and that's not what this is. So if that's what your student wants, or if that's what you want, then this probably is not the book for you. My best tips for using Indescribable. Consider your kids' preferred learning methods. I have a student that really loves science, but has a hard time being attentive with a read aloud. And so he doesn't get as much out of this as I'd hoped. It's just something kind of we get through with him. And then if you're going to use this book as a resource, using back to the introduction here, if you're going to use this book as a resource to supplement your science studies, then go ahead and plug in these pages into your planner, whatever you use as a planner, or you might forget about it. At least I do. For example, if you're studying DNA, you may want to plug page 76 into your planner. That way, when you get to that topic, you read this at just the right time, at a time when you guys are already reading about DNA and maybe doing some projects related to DNA. And I feel like it has more impact and power that way. So definitely consider that. If you're wanting to correlate this with your science studies, look up the different topics in here and plug them into your planner at the appropriate times. If you're interested in more reviews like this one that give you tips and recommendations for how you can use a resource in your homeschool, be sure to tap on that playlist to the side, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye.